Well, this is a video I never expected to ever be making. But does anyone want to buy the crazy, fully forged, mega spec 3S-GTE that was about to go in the Corolla? Because I'm selling it. And no, I'm not giving up on the project. It's not that. It's just an opportunity, an idea, something that's came up. And as much as it's always been sort of impossible to believe there'd be a better idea than this, considering how amazingly the car has always done with the previous 3S, and this engine is an insane spec at, you know, realistically I could never normally afford. I'm going to sell it because we're going to do something else to the Corolla that you will, honestly, you'll like. Probably, maybe. Yeah, you will. I don't care if you do. Whatever. I do. But yeah, it's going to be even madder than this. But that means, as cool as this is, this and the gearbox that goes with it are now surplus to requirements. As you've probably seen from previous videos, in fact, I will put up the clips from previous videos into this one, so you don't have to go viewing through 3 different videos. This is a fully forged 3S-GTE that was in my friend Gav Whiting's MR2 Turbo that was on the cover of the very last issue of Redline magazine. It is a serious spec. Well, the whole car was serious. It was on Cyvex S6 ECU, you know, proper big buck stuff. The car made on a relatively tiny GT35 with a 63 turbine housing. It made 600 brake and 550 pound-foot at about 35 psi. But realistically, it can make a whole lot more because that is pretty much rinsing the hell out of that turbo. But it's got CP pistons, Corolla rods, HKS cams. Currently, it's got 1200cc injectors in it. OS Gicken twin plate clutch and lightweight flywheel. It's basically a mega spec build. I put the full spec on the screen. I've got screen grabs from, even from the Redline magazine when it was featured in the very last issue, showing the full detailed spec. But it's, you know, usual valve springs, retainers, HKS cam pulleys, the whole 9 yards basically. My plan was to put a much bigger turbo on it than he had and run it at about, well, realistically it was going to be 700 plus. At what, you know, at what level it was going to run, I don't know, but it was going to be a lot. And yeah, the engine's pretty fresh, as you'll see, or you might remember from the previous videos when I took the cam cover and stuff off. It's very, very clean inside, because it's only done about 5,000 miles, not many. I whipped the cam cover off because obviously that tells a lot of stories. And as you can see, I mean, I haven't even wiped this. It is fucking mint. As you saw before, HKS cam pulleys, HKS timing belt, which, as nice as it is, I'm gonna have to change it because this, obviously, while it's done next to no miles, it's old. Head is, as you can probably tell, mint. The cams are, I don't know if you can read that, but the HKS cams, just like the pulleys, and as you can maybe see there, it's ARP head studs. It's got an MLS head gasket. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't for the fact I know Gav, and I knew exactly what had gone into the car and how it had been treated and how it had been built. I think it was built possibly by Tim at TB Developments, who does 3S-GTEs a lot in this country, and I know it was mapped by Ryan, who's like the top Civex man. So yeah, it's a serious bit of kit. The story was, the car that was featured on the cover of Redline for the very last issue that this was in, an MR2 Turbo, crashed it not that long after he'd finished it. It was an amazing build, and he kept the engine. Basically, he checked all the data logging. That's the beautiful thing about it being on Civex. It had every fail-safe known to man, oil pressure, blah 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 blah. It's all on the data logging. So basically, got it, took it out the remains of the car, checked the data logging and everything, and data logging showing it didn't lose oil pressure, it didn't have, you know, any issues, so we knew it was still mint, and kept it for a next project. And yeah, just sat on it. And when I had the Corolla, I asked him if he would sell it me, because I just wanted a mental engine, and he never would, because he'd spent a fortune on this and he knew how good it was, so he was keeping it for his next build. And then when I blew up the stock internals engine finally in the Corolla at that half-mile day, where I was making like best part of 500 horsepower, I asked him again, and no, he wouldn't sell it because he loved it to bits, and he knew he would never be able to build another one for anywhere near the right money. And then I kept pestering him, and in the end he was like, yeah, go on then, at this rate I'm going to sit on it forever. So I basically drove all the way to the southeast coast, about 3.5 hours drive I think it was, to his, and gave him a big wodge of money and took it home with me. This and the gearbox. The gearbox I'm also going to be selling. I'll show you that separately, but it was freshly built when this was built. It's about 5,000 miles old. Rebuilt MR2 turbo box with a CAS plated diff in it, so it's proper. Because this is basically me. I've got it prepped, ready to go in the Corolla, which is outside with the blown 3S-GTE in it. So this has been sitting here ready for me to literally roll the Corolla in, pull that engine out, pop this one in, including the gearbox, and carry on. But this things came up, which is going to be even more, well, in my opinion, more awesome for the Corolla. So I'm selling this. Price, you know, I've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. I mean, this has got basically my preparation for it. All I did was check it all out. All I wanted to do was I put new cam cover gaskets and all the gaskets that go around the spark plugs and all that, because when you take a cam cover off, it's a bit iffy to reuse them. You often can, but you know, I wasn't going to. This is not a thing I was trying to save any money on. Even though the cam belt was only a few thousand miles old, I got a brand new HKS cam belt and tensioner. I've not even pulled out the wire out the tensioner yet. That's how fresh this is. I have literally, it's on, it's ready to pull out and go. I have not done anything to this yet. And obviously a nuclear cam cover, just because, well, when you've got a cool HKS pulleys, it seems a shame to hide them behind the standard black one. Yeah, it is what it is. Even the clutch has got a ton of meat left on it. It's got loads left before that's ready to get the plates serviced. I've basically brake cleaned everything, and one by one took these ARP flywheel bolts out, added a load of Loctite, torqued them back up, and now I've got to put it all back together. Clutch is a proper nice bit of kit, by the way. OS Gicken twin plate. So you've got that bit, then these go in, which holds them in place like that. then plate 2, then the cover. So yeah, this is for sale. I'm not going to say a price because I've no idea as of me filming this. I've still not worked it out. I will maybe add it on screen. Maybe it's going to go on eBay and I pull it as a bidder. Maybe people can PM me on Stav-Tech on Instagram or Facebook or something and sort it out that way. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what I paid for it, but I remember it was more than I've ever paid for an engine before. Because these aren't cheap and it's mega spec. But I don't remember, so I'm not trying to get my money back or even profit on it, because I don't even know what I paid for it. I know it's strong money, so I will probably lose money on this. But for what these new plans are, it's worth it, I think. I hope I don't regret this, because this is a type of engine I'm never likely to get another of. But yeah, this is it. And if you genuinely want it for your own crazy Corolla sleeper or an MR2 or a GT4 or whatever the hell you want to put it in, let me know. As a 3S-GTE is going to be sold, this will have to go with it. Well, not with it, but for sale as well. And this is, again, cool as hell, rare as anything. It's a proper rare as anti-lag manifold from the homologation special versions of the GT4. I think they were called GT4 WRC editions. I think 5,000 were made, I think, maybe less, I can't remember. I think maybe 5,000 in total, but the vast majority of them never made it to the road. They just went straight to being rally cars. But yeah, it had to have all the anti-lag pipework and ports as part of the manifold, because Group A homologation rules stated that to be allowed into Group A, 5,000 road cars had to have all the equipment on it as well. And this is one of the rare versions that did. Basically, it's a standard design GT4 and MR2 turbo twin scroll manifold, which in itself is a fantastically designed bit of kit, like without a shadow of a doubt capable of upwards of 600 horsepower. It's a very good setup. And this one I've ported, although it was great, I have ported it everywhere to port matched it versus the head ports. But I've also basically port matched and flowed all the areas to make it a much smoother, nicer path through everything. As you can probably hopefully see, the ports for the anti-lag pipes are massive, like very big for each. I think they're internally they're about 20mm each port. So obviously this pipe work, they just put that there for homologation reasons. The actual Group A cars ran different, bigger pipe work. This is just to pass the rules, but it's banjo bolts basically. But the actual path to here, because they had to use these manifolds, that was the rules, are huge, like way bigger than the Evo ones. It's meant to flow some serious air. It's about 20mm ID, so it's a proper bit of kit and super rare. And yeah, I was going to run this with that because I was fully confident that this could handle 650 plus horsepower without a shadow of a doubt. It's a really good manifold, especially after the porting. I mean, this is the same manifold completely unported. I did 150 mile an hour in the standing half mile in the Corolla with stock internals, 3S-GTE. So yeah, you do the math. pretty much everybody says that's 450, 500 horsepower to manage that in the half mile. This is, you know, so yeah, these can flow, they really can. It also comes with the actual correct WRC manifold, which is basically just got the cutouts for where the anti-lag pipes sit. It's in okay condition. It's far from perfect. The one bolt thing that normally goes there has come off, but I used to use just a bolt with a big washer on it to do that. But it's all there if you wanted to use it. But yeah, again, don't know price, but it's for sale. I'll probably put all of this on eBay, to be fair, but if I think of a price beforehand, it will get shown in the video. Last but not least on the list of badass 3S-GTE bits I'm selling is the gearbox. MR2 turbo one, which are super mega strong anyway, but freshly rebuilt at the same time as the engine was. Brand new CAS limited slip diff in it. I can't remember if it's a 2-way or a 1.5-way or a 1-way. I will put it on screen now from the spec because I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it might be a 2-way. Either way, CAS limited slip diff, rebuilt box. They're super strong anyway. They can take in the same power. And yeah, as you can probably see, it's super clean. Again, it's probably done about 5,000 miles, something like that. That's what they've both done roughly. Apart from being a bit dusty. Well, it's not very dusty, I must admit. It is awesome. I'll tell you what. If you was buying this, I've got brand new Toyota inlet and exhaust gaskets and a load of other bits and bobs. Alternator, starter motor. The inlet manifold you could have, but I've only it's halfway through being modified, so for a bigger throttle body, so you wouldn't be able to just bolt that on. But yeah, alternator, starter, you know, bits and bobs, anything I could find you could have with this. Not like any of that's got any real value, but it might be useful to you, because those kind of parts you can just, they're 10 a penny for these. It's only engines and gearboxes that tend to cost a lot, but I've got both of them here. So yeah, at some point soon, once I take them out, I will be selling the damaged engine, which I don't know what the damage is yet, but I will check that out before I sell it. I think it's probably done an exhaust valve, so the bottom end should be fine, but I want to check. And it's got a very, very good condition MR2 turbo gearbox with a TRD diff in it as well. They'll be up for sale at some point, but these are the super fancy ones. And yeah, all got to go, unfortunately, but because I'm doing something else, it's, most people would be like, you're mental, but yes, I am. And also, Thomas agrees it's a good idea. If it wasn't for him, this other idea would be impossible, because I wouldn't be capable of it. But between us both, we can. But it involves this saying bye-bye. But don't fret, the Corolla's still my favourite car, and will be mental, like properly mental. So, but yeah, in the meantime, you want to buy these bad boys, hit me up.